Welcome to the Vinyl Collective, your weekly journal of the hip hop and R&B landscape. I'm your host, John.
And I'm your co-host, Sofa. Welcome back. Welcome back.
I know every week. I know you've probably been preparing one of your little metaphors, so I'm ready to hear it, Tops.
Actually, not really. So actually, what I've been doing recently, and actually for quite a while, actually. So I don't know. Maybe I've mentioned on the podcast, probably haven't. But I'm getting really into Greek mythology. So I really like the fables and stuff like that, and this the moral of the stories and things like that. I always just find the whole universe quite interesting. So one thing I was looking at recently actually was the story of Athena and Arachne. Do you know about this story?
Not really, no.
Okay, cool. So obviously Athena is one of the main goddesses of weaving, and obviously Arachne was someone who came up as a weaver, and she was a really good weaver, right? She was good. But then obviously she started, essentially started running her mouth, saying, I'm the best weaver there is. I'm even better than Athena. And obviously Athena caught wind of this, was like, hey, hold up, respect. I've been doing this for a while. Do you know what I mean? I've been doing this for a while. But maybe for some reason, Arachne didn't want to admit that she's the best here. Maybe for the mere fact she has ovaries. I don't know. Whatever. So moving on. So obviously, Athena kind of goes to Arachne, but she comes in a different form and basically says, look, humble yourself. Just admit you're not better than Athena. And then Arachne was like, no, I'm better than Athena. And then Athena comes out. She's like, look, you're doing too much now. Let's have it out. So they have a weaving contest. It's a massive thing, obviously, Athena versus Arachne. And basically what happened was Arachne's weaving, she's so good, but she's doing it in a way that's displeasing the gods. So people kind of feel like she's kind of, taking the piss. Mm-hmm. So then Athena gets her instrument. I can't remember what they called it now. It's an old school term. And then she whacks her against the head of it 3 times. What the fuck you doing? Relax. So then after a while, Arachne realizes, oh my gosh, I've displeased the gods. I'm doing too much. And she walks away, tries to hang herself, but she fails. So then after this, Athena goes to Arachne and is like, here, you know what? Just so you can repent, just so you can understand, I'm going to make sure you come back to life, but you'll come back to life as a spider. Maybe giving them venom, some may say, who knows. Mm-hmm. But whatever. So Arachne now lives the rest of her life as a spider for the crime, just not being humble, not admitting that she's not the best. And then here we are. But in completely unrelated terms, let's talk about Little Sims. How you doing?
I was wondering which artists we were getting onto, and then I knew when there's a little competition happening. I was like, yeah, it's got to be Simbi. When we recorded last week, I think it had just dropped, right? And we were like, we need to save our reactions. We need to give it its just due. Woo! So me and Tope, the level of excitement that we had for this was we were messaging each other, in the build up, have you got your screen ready? Are you listening to BBC One? Are you ready? The first time I heard it, I think it blew me away was probably an understatement, because I was sat cross-legged on my bed, headphones on, just eyes trained on the screen. And yeah, I think the first couple of words that came to mind were cinematic, and then just scale, scale of production, the scale of instrumentation. It felt Inflow, we'll talk about him more, but Inflow's kind of live instrumentation and strings and all of that from Grey Area was put on this track, and it was just tenfold, maximized. So that those are my early thoughts.
I mean, is there much to say here? Is there really much? I mean, I keep telling people, innit? I keep saying it. And obviously the album hasn't dropped yet, but I know that tweet I said about I can't wait for those half-baked excuses for when Little Sims drops. It's already starting to age, John. That little Merlot I have in the cupboard. I might just get a bottle of wine and just wait.
It's a vintage already.
It's a vintage. I cannot wait, because literally, I think there's one person, I'm not going to call him out, but he knows exactly who he is. So obviously when I made that tweet, I think a week or so before the song dropped,
I know who it is too.
Yeah. So I know you like that. I know you like Little Sims, but you really like her. I'm like, I mean, why not? Like her last 3 albums. If you're including Stillness and Wonderland Deluxe, cool. Then she drops Grey Area. Then she dropped 6. Now she's dropped this. So why the fuck are you not on this train? Like, this is the freest train. Like, if you ever want to be that guy to be like, oh my gosh, I can spot new talent or I can spot good talent, this is the time. This is the time. Like,
it's not too late.
It's not too
Join
late.
us.
You've got how many months? She announced the album, obviously, sometimes I might be Introvert. I think it's like early September. So you got about 5 months to get your shit together. No, 4 months even, to get your shit together and join this train. Because I just, it's one song, 6 minutes though, and we'll get into it. But I love being proven right. I love it. I fucking love that shit. This song is easily, this is not hyperbole. This is the best single I've heard all year. 100%. 100%. Like, yes, it's very dramatic, it's very cinematic, but the way she enters in and the way she kind of just rides the beat and the chemistry, like we said on episode 3, go back and listen. The chemistry between her and Inflow is ridiculous and it's only gotten better. Cleo Soul.
Bring in Cleo Soul as well.
Oh God. My gosh. Oh God.
Yeah, it's lovely.
I cannot state this enough. Like, what I'm going to say here, right, it's going to sound crazy, but I feel like, John, you'll understand me, and I think it's just the audience that needs to understand me. There's only a few artists, right? There's very few artists that you look at them and you think it's not even just a case of them trying to be a good rapper. You can tell they're genuinely trying to be the best. And I know a lot of people think that every rapper tries to do that. They don't. They get their money and it's like, okay, cool, I'll just keep doing it to pay the bills. No shame in that. But there's very, very, very few who is like, even after they drop a classic, they're like, I'm going to try and beat that. Like when Kendrick dropped Damn, he legit thought he was trying to beat To Pimp a Butterfly. That doesn't mean you succeed every time. Think of Andre 3000. You think of, Prime Nas, Prime J. Like there's maybe not even Jay. Like there's a very few like circle of artists who like they are legitimately trying to smash whatever they've done before. And I'm telling you now, and I genuinely believe it, I do think she's trying to beat Grey Area because everything she's shown us right now shows that she's trying to go for that classic. Yeah. And what's the one thing rappers do in their discography is to always try to cement themselves. I want to see if you get it. Have a guess.
I mean, it could be a lot of things.
Yeah. Just give me
bring back the same producer.
Okay, fair. But my answer was double disc. Every big rapper tries a double disc. Right. Every single one. Even the ones out there, every single one, at one point in the career, it's like, okay, Tupac and Biggie did it. I'm trying to do it. She's going for a double disc. She's going for a big statement album.
Ambitious. 17 tracks.
17 tracks. Ambitious, going with the same formula, coming with live production. She's trying to go for it. Yeah. She's trying to go for it. And even if she falls a little bit short, it's still going to be a good album. So I genuinely feel like, I haven't fucking spoken about the song yet, but I genuinely do feel like she's one of those people and I see it in her like, bro, she's actually trying to be the best. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just so fun to watch.
Yeah, you definitely sense like everything you said about her, like the way she does her art, the way she kind of, she's not always like teasing these songs all the time. Like she's just got straight back in the studio and tried to get all the pieces together. So yeah, literally just like to better herself. It's like a lot of artists, like not necessarily even music, like talk about it being like an addiction, right? Like you have to go back and you have to try and be better each time. Yeah. And yeah, she's definitely one of those artists. Like the song itself though, right? So you're saying, the way she writes it literally like this, the live instrumentation, right? Like it builds up slowly. It doesn't even, like it comes in pretty strong, but then it just like builds up, just like, you can imagine her as like a surfer. Let's go for an analogy, right? There's a big wave, it's kind of swelling up, right? And it's just like building and building and building. It's almost at its peak and she just like, here comes the surfer out of nowhere onto the top of the wave and then just like rides it through.
I think that's actually a pretty good analogy because that is how it is. Like you get all this like so much build up and then boom, little synth's just there, right in the center of everything, just giving you just say like the thing about her as well. Like she's so urgent on this song. Like it's like everything she's saying, like, you must hear what I'm saying right now. It's the most important thing in the world, and I love that about Little Sims. Cause I know people try to act like she's not, you know, she's not a lyrical miracle or whatever, but she can command your attention like a motherfucker, and that's exactly what she did here. Like, she speaks on a whole range of shit. Like, and even though like the song's 6 minutes, she's not rapping for about half of it. Like, yeah, I don't know. I think what do you kind of think of like the subject matter? Because she's talking about like the politics. She's kind of talking about like being affected by like, you know, gentrification, or like basically kind of find the balance between like you know, letting her ego kind of swell to compared to being humble. Like, yeah, what do you kind of take from the track?
Yeah, I don't know. It may just be a completely left field comparison, but like there are a few lines in there which was just like assessing the current like socio-political landscape, being like, this is happening. Like it felt urgent, and it had that kind of like untitled number one feel about it. It wasn't. I mean, I'm not going to compare like the rapping ability, but
just
it
the
had
urgency.
that kind of feel about it. Yeah. As if she was just like, because that was the first song on his obviously on that compilation. So yeah, it had the same level of urgency, the same kind of like statement song, and then obviously the subject matter of like what it means to be a woman, kind of like finishing on that line was like, ooh, there's so much to look forward to on this album.
Mad, yeah, getting a girl from what's the fuck, The Crown. Oh fuck, like, oh my! If you're a fan of music and I don't say this often, I genuinely do not say this often, but there's no way you look at a song and think this is like not a good song. Like, even just the instrumentation, like Inflow is out of his fucking mind. Like, oh my, like even just the instrumentation is like, and the way he kind of like progresses it and changes it when she's saying certain things, I'm like, oh, like, don't talk to me about TSB and J5. I'm sorry, they're good, but this guy is like, he's in his own tier. Like, sorry, no one's doing shit like this, man. No one's like, oh, like, and like the little samples, like these little kids in the background, like,
the little voice,
and like Cleo Soul as well. Oh my gosh, oh, it's so well done. It's so well done. Yeah, insane song.
As an intro as well, like it's the first song on the album. Huge.
That's what I'm saying.
What is it, like 6 minutes?
Yeah.
It just, there's some absolute bangers.
It has to slap this. It has to slap. And I'm saying, like, if it doesn't slap, I'm going to be so upset, because the amount of hype you build off just, like, this is like the worst, quote unquote, worst single you can have, because it's generating so much hype. Like, oh my gosh, what is Woman gonna be about? Like the next song, what the fuck's that about? It's too tantalizing. It's too much. Like, it's just, I'm just very surprised that she's able to kind of come in, like, literally as if Grey Area, like, was just yesterday, with the same energy, and just kind of still, like, at that, like, artistic level. And obviously, going back to the same old formula, like we wanted her to, when we talked about it a few months ago, but man,
but also like broach other issues as well, and like
exactly.
And I'm sure she's going to bring in, different, like, not necessarily a whole different soundscape, but I'm sure she's going to switch it up throughout the album. Because like we said, this one, this was like the strings on like Venom or whatever, but like on steroids, because it was like even bigger. The kind of level of ambition she has as well from the music video, right? Like it was a montage of like London street scenes with like the Natural History Museum. I'm sure there must be more visuals from the Natural History Museum. That was the only slight disappointment for me.
No, I was going to say, like,
this building is immense, and like we only kind of saw like the foyer, right?
Yeah, like, I mean, but then it must cost a fuck ton to kind of hire out the whole building, right?
So like, can I climb on the dinosaur? No, you don't get that for your like £2,000 package.
Exactly. But
like the bonus add-ons.
I mean, it was kind of cool to see this place around London. Obviously, like my hometown, like Crystal Palace / Penge, like kind of taking the shots of the training grounds and like doing all of that. I thought that was pretty cool. Just me personally, but whatever. I know it doesn't mean a lot to pretty much like 99% of Little Sims fans. But the video to me, again, I always tell you, people always try to 200 IQ these fucking videos, innit? So for me, it was like, whatever. I hope it makes more sense in context of the album. But again, I feel like there's two sides to that record as well, because you can see like she has that red side on the back cover where she seems a bit more, I'm not going to say aggressive, but you know, I mean, like, even like the track listing, it changes color after like track 10 or some shit like that. I'm not too sure. So I think, again, going for a concert, going for the double disc, obviously acronym for Simbi. So I think one thing though, and this is the one thing that slightly concerns me, because obviously Grey Area was about Little Sims in its entirety.
Yeah.
And obviously calling your next album Simbi feels like it's going to be more the same, but it does feel like she's more keen to talk about these current things, obviously just off this one song. Yeah. So we'll see how far she goes with that. But yeah, and I hope there's a lot more secret features, because there's only 2 noted ones, but I feel like there's going to be more. So very excited. Yeah. Very excited.
Watch this space.
Yeah, watch this space.
There's been a lot more that's been happening the last few weeks, music-wise.
Let's get through it.
I know. You're keen definitely to talk a little bit about Cordae. So obviously, you know, in anticipation of his new album, he released a 4-track EP. Pretty diverse. And if these are like, maybe not throwaways, but if these are, you know, not making it onto the album, it's a good sign of things to come. I listened to it for the first time today. I listened a couple times over. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. I really liked the just as like a highlight, probably What's Up was like brilliant. The way it like teased me with like those little Latin guitar intro, and then it just like switched into like a really good trap beat. The way Cordae was flowing on like maybe his second verse reminded me a bit of like, you know how Future just jumps onto the Heady One drill beat and just like works it perfectly. This is what Cordae did on that with Young Thug, and I was like, look at the way they're like trading verses on.
I fucking love it. I fucking love it.
It's mad.
Oh man, but yeah,
I mean, it's not all about the subject matter when it's that genre of music, but yeah, his flow was special.
Yeah, I think the chemistry between them two is just so good. Like, again, it was very derivative, but yeah, even like the way like the different flows they had, and they're still going back and forth. It just and yeah, shout out to the producer. I know that I can't remember his name, but I know he works quite a lot with AJ Tracy as well. So obviously him kind of working with Young Thug and Cordae, it's pretty big for him. But yeah, obviously I wrote about the 4-track EP I think a couple of days ago. I think if these are throwaways, and obviously I put hip hop's golden child, and I kind of meant that as a slight diss, right? Because I feel like the thing about Cordae, as much as I love him, and I love his debut album as well, but man, does he not get the best part of the pie every fucking time. Like, he's worked with some of the best rappers to ever do it. Like, Q-Tip, fucking Pusha T, you know, say what you want about Meat Mill, that's a bit, all these guys on his first album, he works with some very expensive people. And obviously now he's got, you know, production credits from Q-Tip, from Terrence Martin, from Raphael Sadiq. It's like, okay, I guess I just cannot fail then. Like, whatever. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, but to be fair, one thing I always said about Cordae, and I'll still say, like, the guy can fucking rap. Yes, he does wear his influences on his sleeve a lot, but the boy can rap. And I feel, it does feel like the rap industry is kind of like choosing him to be the one to kind of take the throne for this decade. And again, if these are throwaways, then I'm excited that maybe he will be the one to do it, because if this is what is not on the album, then again, you're setting some high expectations for what will be on this album.
The other songs are good. There were a lot of, I know he generally does obviously a lot of like childhood and like family references, and you know, this is how I conduct my life because of my grandparents teaching and stuff. Quite a few like art references.
Yeah.
In there, loads of things about like canvas and but yeah, no, I liked it. How did you feel about the Q-Tip one?
I didn't like the hook at all, and
I did not like Q-Tip's voice on that.
Yeah, it felt like he was just like high as fuck, and it's like, can you just do the hook? And he's like, yeah. Or it was like he did the hook, and obviously because Cordae is like, oh my gosh, a Tribe Called Quest, he's like, oh, I gotta keep it in then. It felt like that. Like, I would much rather prefer like a verse from him as well. Yeah. Like, I was like, what's going on? I think that's like my least favourite song on the EP. It's not bad, because I think the verses are really good by Cordae, but it just feels like he was just phoning that in like a motherfucker, ridiculously. So yeah, mad disappointed actually.
Yeah. Dream in Colour was good. Nice. Good. I mean, you know, we can't talk about him without saying he's, you know, part of a very cute couple. But he's like, my girl would forfeit a tennis match just to meet my grandmother. Man, she's truly a keeper.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to ask you about that. What did you think? Because on the More Life song, he was like, what's it called? My girlfriend's a tennis star. You guys are out here marrying hoes. A lot of people were really upset by that. And I thought it was pretty funny, but I don't know. What do you think about that?
I thought it was funny. I don't think he's necessarily doing it as like a preachy thing. It's just an observation and just quite like humorous.
Yeah, that's how I took it through.
Yeah, no, I liked it. The final song as well had a nice kind of like outro filter, didn't it? That classic like stripped back instrumental.
Yeah, I think it was just more of a reflection on like shit's going on.
Yeah.
Of course, he's talking a lot about that song "Family Matters" he had on his debut, where he basically kind of just I know he doesn't feel like he did, but he basically just aired out his whole fucking lineage's dirty laundry, and they were not happy about that. Clearly, like he said, like he almost lost a connection with his aunt. He's still got some cousins he doesn't speak to because of that song. So it's like, like it seemed like they were not happy about that. But it's good for him to kind of like be mature by his perspective and kind of understand like, okay, I kind of get it. Do you know what I mean? But shout out to Cordae. Can't wait to see what comes from him next. What else is going on?
Let's just talk about wireless. Come on, let's do
it. Go on then. Kick us off then. Kick us off. Okay.
Oh, so many issues with the lineup. I feel like that classic phrase, right? Three things are sure in life: death, the tax man, and Skepta headlining wireless.
I mean, okay, cool. I mean, whatever. I mean, let's give some context, right? I'll swing it back to you in a second. But yeah, obviously, I saw the lineup come out yesterday, and I think the first big complaint I saw about it was obviously a Vinyl Collective favorite, H.E.R.
Yep.
She kind of chimed in and she basically said, quote, "Wireless back at it again with the penis fest. Woo, I'm tired," unquote. So yeah, what do you think about like?
I
what
agree.
She said?
We talked about this. I said, what was it? Sausage for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at Wireless. It's true. What is it? They've announced like 40-something artists, and 3 of them are females. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a lot of talent from men and women in the hip hop and R&B world.
Yeah.
And you've chosen 3. Like, it's actually crazy, isn't it? Like, you've got fan favorite Sims, you've got SZA, you've got Doja Cat, you've got so many artists right now who could easily headline a day.
And even if you're thinking like London, right? You could get Georgia Smith, you can get Tiana Major, you can get Ossie Mahalia. Clearly, she didn't get invited, right? So do you know what I mean? So there's some R&B artists, maybe even Neo, Leanne LaHavas. Like you could probably get a couple people. Do you know what I mean? So continue.
So I think in that sense, people also looked at it and been like, it's just become a rap drill festival, which it has by the kind of like the frequent flyers, right? Like the kind of artists that you can kind of expect to be there every single year. But yeah, she 100% has a point. Like female artists, especially from those examples, like Black British female artists are getting passed off again and again, passed off again and again and again.
Yeah, no, fair. I mean, I saw someone say, "What about Any?" I was like, "Okay, relax, boys, relax." All right, go on. It did too much. Like, go on. It's one song. It's one song. Let's fucking relax here. Innit?
I know that one by the back. What about Any?
Literally, I'm like, all right, cool. Okay, we're taking this too far. But yeah, behavior.
All the other points stand.
Yeah, all the other points stand, right? So I think one thing the first thing that came to mind was like, okay, cool. So how many of these artists have been approached and declined? Because also there's a lot of fucking festivals going on this year, like big and small. And 2, obviously, how many just didn't get approached? Obviously, that's kind of a number we won't have. But after thinking about it some more, right? One I thought, okay, if someone like H.E.R, who is probably one of the biggest singers in the country right now, if H.E.R isn't getting approached, then who the fuck is? Like, that's what I thought. Like, they probably did get like a Georgia Smith, right? But I was thinking, okay, like, there's a lot of decent enough singers. Like, do you know what I mean? There's enough. Like, even if you're talking rappers, right? Because in terms of rappers, maybe there isn't like a lot that you'll be like, oh my gosh, I need to listen to the whole set. Fair enough. Like, I know people like, maybe even someone like maybe Bree Runway. Like, I know people like her. Maybe Shabo. You have Miss Banks, of course. Obviously, Lil Sims. So yeah, I feel like there's enough to be approached. But again, you don't know how many of them are saying yes or no. So cool. But again, yeah, it's quite concerning. And you saying that it's turned to a trap fest is 100% true. And they're intentionally doing that shit because two things, right? The type of people who habitually listen to trap music will probably spend a lot at Wireless on recreational drinks. So it's like, cool. I mean, let's call a spade, right? They're probably the ones who are gonna like listen to a lot of music they don't fucking care about, and they're gonna ramp up the food and drink prices. That's fair. Do you know what I mean? So I kind of get that. Like, you're not trying to listen to, I don't know, like you're not trying to listen to like FK. Maybe you are trying to listen to FK Twigs at a concert. Okay, maybe you're not trying to listen to like someone like, I don't know,
Leanne.
Yeah, you're not trying to listen to Leanne Adams at fucking Wireless. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you're not trying to do that. You need like certain songs that are just gonna get you hype and jump around, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But the thing about Wireless, and this is why I've never really fucked with Wireless, they have 3 days and they're all essentially the same. It's just that one is a worse version of one another. It's something like, oh, we have like, you know, a Dreamville type of day where it's like, you know, spacey sounds and like conscious rap, whatever. Or then you have one day you have like Drake and, you know, all the hype big artists. Like, you don't have that. It's just like this level of trap. Oh, kind of trap, but plus Skepta. And kind of trap, but we got Nav for you instead. Like, that's how it feels these days.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel like there's like a conscious effort to actually allocate these artists correctly or even get good enough artists. But yeah, I mean, Wireless has been in the shit for at least half a decade anyway, so 100%. Whatever.
Yeah, they're definitely living, like you said, in another decade. Because 2018 was exactly the same thing. 3 days, 3 female artists. And they've done it again this year. Yeah, I swear, go to Park Life. This isn't a sponsored message. Okay, Park Life, if you want to sponsor us, we'll shout you out.
Yeah, wouldn't mind. I mean, poor Mahalia, man, probably has to pay off that rent. And obviously, lockdown's been a long time. Probably a lot of rent due, man. Like, but yeah, I mean, if I was a fucking event organizer, I'll just message Mahalia on the slide. Just be like, hey, we still got some space. We'll kick out this other guy. Because fucking hell, like, she's got like fucking near 5 million monthly listeners. Like, people are going to come from Mahalia. So if anyone's missing out on that, it's
2021 as well. And you've got artists like Swarms. And
I'm not even going to comment on that because I'm nice.
Like, yeah, big artist, but like 2021, haven't really heard much from him.
I mean,
it's a
industry plants exist. Like, here's what we got here, right? And this is why when people tell me the UK scene is like super good these days, I'm like, okay, let's talk about it. So we got as a headline right after Future, D Block Europe. Okay, cool, whatever. Digga D, okay, cool, take that.
Yeah.
Then we got people like Millions, who still doesn't have an album. Who's going to play the feature songs or his songs? Who the fuck knows? Okay, Mosaic SL, cool. Young T and Bugsy. That's a headline. It's a headline. Okay, cool. Whatever. Saturday, J1. J1's name is above Meek Mill's. It's above Nines. What? It's above Sway Lee's. It's above Tion Wayne's. J1.
Oh boy.
And then Sunday, right after Migos, who again haven't dropped a fucking competent album.
That's why Megan Thee Stallion should have headlined Sunday.
I agree.
100%.
Oh my gosh, I just realized this. So you got Megan Thee Stallion on the third line and you got right after Migos. Abracadabra is right after Migos. Holy shit, that's actually bad. And Charlie Sloth and Friends. Charlie Sloth and Friends is right after. What the hell? What do you mean? That is so disrespectful. She definitely did not know that was going to happen because the fact that Charlie Sloth and Friends isn't dead.
I don't think she knows who Charlie Sloth is.
That should be dead last. That's the most ambiguous. That's like, you know, when they tried to. This is how I know Wireless is in a fucking gutter. Remember, I think it was last year, or no, obviously it wasn't last year. The year before, where they had DJ Khaled and Friends. And everyone's like, right, guys, he's bringing out Drake, and he didn't fucking bring out anyone they cared about. Do you remember that? That's what it feels like, but maybe a bit worse. Like
his actual friends.
Yeah, like even what the fuck? Yeah. Even Heady One's below this. That's ridiculous. Rick Ross, Young Thug, like. This is mad disrespectful. This is mad. So here's my suspicion, right? 2 things. Obviously, it's in Crystal Palace Park this year.
Yeah.
Which, fair enough. I like that. Cool. Come on, bring it to South London. But I reckon these guys are going to have small as fuck sets and they can't promote it as if they're going to be here long. That's my suspicion. And I think that's why they're doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, that's like what, 8 artists? Is it? Yeah, I can't imagine Abracadabra having like a good 45-minute set, can he?
Okay, so who do we say is one of the biggest rappers in the world right now? The other week. Lil Baby, right?
Lil Baby.
Tell me why the fuck Lil Baby is the third line down on a Future day. How is Future headlining over Lil Baby? Why is D Block? You're telling me fucking Dirtbag LB is getting the girls wetter than Lil Baby these days? Is that what you're telling me, Wireless? Are we really doing that? All right, whatever. Fuck do I know with it? Fuck do I know? I can't fucking believe. I didn't read into it as much now until we just spoke about it. I was like, fuck me, like. Oh,
they're not serious, are they? These organisers.
No, I mean, anyways, whatever.
We've given them enough time.
Yeah, it's only half an hour of the fucking intro. Let's keep going.
Let's quickly touch on H.E.R. just released a new song. Chris Brown. She's also halfway to, what is it, an EPOC? EGOT.
Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony.
Yep.
So yeah, she's got the Grammy, of course, and she got the Oscar.
Yeah.
The other day. I can't remember what song it was for. Probably something no one gives a fuck about, but here we are. So yeah, what do you think of the Chris Brown song?
I liked. She begins it right. She has a first verse. I enjoyed it, and then it felt a little bit flat. Not particularly interesting. I kind of lost interest.
Much like H.E.R.'s whole discography. I mean, look, guys, look.
She's got a fantastic voice, but the song
she does. I mean, don't worry, guys.
anything.
It's just a teaser for the album that's definitely gonna drop, right? So we got nothing to worry about.
In 2023.
Fuck me. I don't know how I just keep getting away with this shit. Like, I'm gonna mention it briefly because I've already beaten this horse to death. But fuck me. So someone's halfway through an EGOT for songs that no one really gives a fuck about when someone who has no album out. If Millions turns around and gets like a Mercury Prize next year, I think I might have to quit the Vinyl Collective because I just can't, my brain won't be able to hack that anymore. Because fuck, like, I can't do this anymore. Like, H.E.R. is a great singer, but at some point you gotta put up a shut up. Same way you can be like J Electronica, great artist, but until that album comes, because the thing about albums, it's like going from the training grounds to the fucking Champions League semi-final. Like, it's a different mood. People keep acting like it's the same thing. Me making a song on a mixtape that I think is never going to see anyone's light of day is very different to when I know the moment I press send on this album, fucking 3 million people are going to stream that. That's a whole different pressure. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So people keep, so I just can't, I smell industry plant and I smell the herbs of the industry plant, but again, what do I know? So whatever. Keep going.
Let's move on from that. I know you wanted to talk about A2.
Okay.
He released a two little singles, didn't he?
Yeah.
One with Etterbond, and then the other one was just him. Not Mine, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't even know how to talk. I think I had this on the list, but yeah, I feel the same about A2. He is just okay. Like, maybe he's just subpar at this point. Like, I don't see it. I feel like he's a very lazy artist when it comes to his own work. I feel like he thinks he's way deeper than he actually is.
Not Mine felt like a bit of a snooze fest. It wasn't. I didn't think it was like particularly gripping.
Yeah, I mean,
there was a bit of auto-tune. It was really like it was like a slow Drake PND vibe. It's like kind of like Scorpion vibe.
Yeah, you can tell this guy loves to fuck off Drake like so hard. Like, yeah, he's stuck in that like 2015. You should read This Is Too Late. You know, Drake Jungle or Party Next Door type of shit. Like, come see me for once type of shit. I mean, poor Etterbond. And I thought her single was pretty decent on the other song, She's No Rush. But fuck me, man. I don't see it for this guy, man. Like, he's so uninspired. I don't know how he pulled it out on a Mills fucking album, but
that was a good
fuck
song.
me. Yeah, fuck me, man. I'm so over it. Yeah, I don't have much to say about that anymore. Sorry. He really pisses me off. People talk to me like as if he's the truth, and it's like, nah, he's a big ass lie. Speaking of the truth, so the boys are back in town. The boys are back in town. The Top Dogs, they're back. 5th of May, they say.
They are.
So that's
which dog will we get though? That's what I want to know.
I mean, I feel like all of them are very highly anticipated at this moment, to be honest. So I actually don't mind. Obviously, as a fan of TDE in general, I don't really care who we get. But I know a lot of people are like, SZA or Kendrick.
I'm predicting Isaiah or SZA. I'm leaning towards SZA.
If they don't announce SZA, the streets are gonna be so fucking pissed off because people are hanging.
4 years.
People love that girl, man. Mm-hmm. But I get it. I think it'll be Isaiah too, to be honest. And how would you feel about that, John, if it was Isaiah? Are you a big fan?
I'll be excited, yeah. I mean, it's been a long, long time. So I don't know if some people will have kind of hopped off the Isaiah train. I don't know. I think even if people have, like, come on, it's been a long time. People have been waiting for it. As soon as they hear that announcement, they'll be like, it's time.
Yeah.
Like Avengers Assemble, come on, let's go.
That's what it is when Top Dog drops, isn't it? It's like, it's never just one of them, like Top Dog, the actual guy, like, he's so strategic in terms of his rollouts, like, so I feel like it's once the first one comes, they're just gonna start like popping out. Obviously, Kendrick is definitely coming. I don't know if it'll be this year. I feel like it has to be this year, but I don't really mind.
I want it to be this year.
I feel like Isaiah's definitely coming. SZA's definitely coming. I know that for sure. J-Rock could, but again, he's not. He has quite weird rollouts because I think before 90059 it was 4 years, and obviously it was 2 years after that for Redemption. So I'm not too sure. I don't think I'll need one as badly. I feel like it has to be like Kendrick, SZA, Isaiah.
Redemption feels like it was 2 years ago max. It doesn't feel that long ago.
3 years ago now. Long time. Wow. Yeah.
I'm still living off 90059. I love that album.
Really good album.
Ooh.
Yeah. Damn, that's turning 5 this year. Maybe we'll talk about it a little bit. But I mean, I'm excited, man. I mean, whatever they got coming, as long as they don't say fucking Zakari and who's that other guy that sounds like J-Rock when he sings? What the fuck's his name?
Reason.
No. Oh, no. Reason dropped last year. It wouldn't be Reason. Who the fuck am I talking? Lance Skywalker. I hope they dropped him. Like, it can't be him. It can't be him. If they say Lance Skywalker and Zakaria drop it, I'll be pissed off. Like, so I hope it's
I'm retweeting.
No, but I like Reason. Reason's cool. But I think Reason dropped too recent. It won't be him. Okay. So I think they wanted to get him out of the way even. So I think he's out of the way now. Like, Reason's done. Like, it's going to be the big guys.
Focus on the top 3.
Yeah. Oh, man. Very excited. But
I'm excited. Yeah.
But I mean, we'll have to see what happens.
Let's, unless you've got any other news, I was going to say let's hit the Spotlight series.
Yeah, it's okay. The Georgia Smith songs are okay. Probably write a couple of tweets about that. AJ's album, wanted more. Yeah, that's it really. Yeah. Let's keep going. That's a long fucking...
I'm reaching the end of my April albums saga.
Oh yes, fuck! How's that going?
I've never been more tired. I've never been looking forward to a Friday so much. Yeah, I don't know. It's been stressful, but it also kind of, I think you said at the start, right? Like it prepares you so much better for album reviews in the future because I'm used to listening to an album 3-4 times in one day and then having a pretty solid idea of what it's about, the production, the themes, the lyrics. Just having like a good idea of the album afterwards. So, and I've tried not to just stick to hip hop and R&B either. Of like, which is probably why there's been so little engagement. I've tried to go, with a bit of like electronic or a bit of like country pop. Shout out Casey Musgraves.
You reviewed the Burial album as well. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You also did one of Daft Punk's albums, I think. As well.
Discovery.
So, obviously big classic. So
but no, it's been really fun. I think maybe maybe in one of the episodes upcoming we'll like give our top 3 from our months or something like that.
Or maybe we should do something like let's say we try attack this again, but we split the load or some shit like that, like every other day. Because I think it'd be quite cool to kind of like just keep doing this, maybe on the Vinyl Collective page. Obviously, no promises, guys, innit? I don't fucking know you guys shit, but it's a cool idea.
We're just talking right now.
Yeah, like maybe.
That's what happened.
Yeah, but I think it's something to look into. Also, I've kind of kept doing it a little bit here and there. I think it's a good muscle to work on. So definitely. I mean, what's in your favorite so far? Because obviously next week it'll be done.
Favorite so far. Let me have a little look at my list. I think Q-Tip's album surprised me. I didn't go in with much expectation because I don't know many people that have heard the Renaissance. That was solid. Here My Dear, solid album. Like really, really enjoyed listening to that. That's the kind of thing I could imagine buying on vinyl.
Okay.
Like it just sounded like brilliant. Scarface, The Diary, another highlight for sure.
Big
yeah, and also the artist Serpent with Feet.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Really enjoyed his album Deacon. Very kind of like, very like simplistic, but I enjoyed it. It was really short as well, like 30 minutes or something. Lots of, you can obviously check out my list, you can check out Top A's list as well on our respective Twitter pages. Give us a follow as well if you want. You can do all of the above. Gentle plug for my
this is a gentle plug. And speaking of plugs, again, like as we do every week, as John said, he's half joking, but he really fucking means it. Subscribe, but to the Vinyl Collective. Follow us on Twitter, Vinyl Collective Pod, and all that stuff. And then we have our email. If you want to talk about an artist, vinylcollectivepod@gmail.com. Obviously, this week we have our boy, another London native, Karl Benjamin. So with KJ, not KJ. I tried to abbreviate his name and I fucked it up. KB. He's had a bit of a weird start in terms of music. Obviously, the guy's fucking attractive as shit. Obviously, he's one of those chiseled guys, clear as hell skin, got the dreads.
He said, he walks into a bar and women walk up to him and say, "Hey, how are you?"
Yeah, exactly.
Can I buy you a drink?
And it looks like he's got the mood of like a fucking, I don't know, like a mood of a walrus, just so like there, like you don't really want to talk to him, but I bet once you talk to him, he starts laughing, like one of those guys, isn't it? He looks moody, but I think he's probably a good guy. Anyways, off topic. So he kind of started doing music whilst he was in Brighton. Obviously, someone looked at him and thought, "Hey, you could be a model." He's like, "Fuck it, cool." Did that shit. Was part of a band, and obviously that kind of clashed. He was like, "Actually, guys, can't really do this all the time." Dropped out the band, came back as a singer, and now signed to Atlantic. Don't know how the fuck he did that, but props to him. Signed to Atlantic, and now has dropped his first EP, Drist. So tell me about.
I think like coming across him was a bit. I know this is one of your favorite words, serendipitous. You love that word.
I do love that word.
I feel like it was because I only kind of came across him, I think maybe within the last 6-8 weeks, and then he drops an EP. Perfect timing. I think it's cool seeing those kind of artists. He reminds me a little bit in his kind of career trajectory, a little bit of like Navy Blue. I don't know how much you've got into him, but like he has like a skating career, right? Like he's a good skater, and then also has this unbelievable run of like lyrical miracles. I'm just like, who is this guy? Like how? Yeah, I don't get it. But anyway, so Karl Benjamin, Drist, which it's kind of out of my head now what it stands for.
No, I'm not gonna fucking remember that. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's something
It's
shy
something
tendencies.
deep. It's something deep.
It's something pretty. I actually have it on my phone somewhere. I'm gonna have to pick that up now. Gosh, see, the best podcasters in the business, guys.
That's us. Deep-rooted insecurities and shy tendencies.
That's the one. There we go. That's the one. It's a 4-track EP, I believe.
Yep.
So pretty short shit. So
no, it's good stuff. I think it's nice to see someone who's like, kind of like exploring like his voice as well as like sounds, because obviously we kind of said if you like H.E.R or Carl Dixon, then you'll like him. He's kind of that like, he's got the R&B element to him, and he's also got like the soul side of him as well, which you kind of see in like tracks like Apricot Sky. I don't know. I think he's an interesting one to watch out for because so few tracks from him, and obviously he's like got a record deal, so you know there's stuff in the pipeline. He
seems like a guy who takes his time, because obviously he got signed. Obviously 2020 fucked over a lot of people, but it does seem like he's Like he spoke a lot about like, oh, I want this to be like my first ever single, or I want my album to be like this, and I knew this was gonna be like he kind of says it like he seems very like planned out, like, okay, I want this to kind of go out like this and all the good stuff there. And obviously being signed to Atlantic obviously gives you better like access to producers. You're able to kind of work on songs longer because they're going to obviously pay for the studio and shit like that. So that's pretty cool. He's got a lot of soul to him, like you said, like he is a lot like Sir in that sense. In terms of way he sings, it's like imagine Sir but British. That's kind of how his voice kind of gives off to me. I think the one thing actually is not even him. I think his production could be worked on a bit more. Mm-hmm. So I think a good example is Friends, because I feel like the songwriting is there. Like the songwriting is there. Like the guy can write a song, the guy can sing. But then when he did the second take of that with the Lagoon sessions, I was like, holy shit! Like, do you know what I mean? It's just
the song comes alive so much more.
Yeah, it took the song to a whole different level, because now you're hearing every word you're saying. You're like, oh my god, this guy's going through a lot. Like, oh my god, and the way the studio version sounds, you're like, it doesn't hit you the same way. It kind of almost waters it down. So I feel like maybe when he has more of a hand in terms of production, I feel like people kind of like, he'll strike out to people a lot more. But in terms of like the raw skill, like it's definitely there. Like I'm surprised like he hasn't really been featured much anywhere or worked with anyone before, and you know he's kind of popped out of nowhere. But yeah, I mean it's always good to see
new to the scene. Yeah, I was actually going to say I didn't know whether I felt like a couple of songs maybe weren't as like deep as he thought they were. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, no, I get what you mean.
Not that they were like surface level, but it's difficult when you're talking about kind of like universal emotions and you're not necessarily coming at it from a different angle. And I know that's stupid to say, because how can you when there's like X number of artists in the world and you're all experiencing love? So it's like, how do you come at it from the angle? But it just, I don't know. A couple of songs felt like maybe they weren't as, I think what was it? The song where he talks about, you know, being like affected by, you know, like external influences or something. Like I would have liked to hear a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like some more specifics on that, because it's an interesting concept, but I know that happens. You know, I wanted to hear a little bit more about his situation.
Yeah, no, I fully get you. I think the one song actually that it sounds really nice, but I'm like, what the fuck's he on about? Is I think the song you're probably talking about as well, Apricot Sky. Because I'm like, okay, like, because the thing about artists,
everyone
right?
has the Apricot Sky.
Yeah, like I was telling the interview, I was like, I don't fucking believe you. But whatever, like when it comes to certain songs, okay, if you're gonna bring out like a metaphor or concept on a song, and so many singers fall into this trap. Your boy James Blake does sometimes, Sampha does, where it's like you can't introduce some sort of metaphor and concept and don't give the listener a way to understand what you're talking about. It doesn't have to be obvious, but you have to give them a way to be like, oh, if I read the lyrics, oh, that's what he's on about. Do you know what I mean? It can't just be this like super abstract. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, do you know what I mean? Some super abstract, like, oh my gosh, like, do you know what I mean? Like, because the thing is, it's great if a song means something to you, but we are listening to it. So it has to be something to us, and that's how we connect to music in some sort of way. So I think that's something maybe he can kind of work on. Like, you don't have to be too abstract. Like, sometimes simplicity is key. Like, you could talk about Apricot Sky, but maybe kind of talk about what Apricot Sky means to you at some point during the song. So then we're like, oh, that's what he means. And then maybe when we listen to the song again, we're like, oh my gosh, I get what he means now. Do you know what I mean? A lot of artists do that. It's a hard science, but do you know what I mean? And that's why, like, I'm not shitting them too much, because obviously he just got here, but that's something you definitely need to work on. And so many artists, like even Neo was a big, culprit of this, like way back in her early days, where she'll have these songs, like she's a great songwriter, but it's like, no one knows what the fuck you're saying. And then by the time it got to like Saturn, it's like, oh, okay, like, I think that's why Saturn did way better, because everyone knows what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, something clicked there.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah. That's it, really.
The songs we chose you can obviously find on our Spotlight Series playlist on Spotify. And yeah, just, you know, we've got all of our artists on there. We've had 29 weeks of it, of unrelenting quality of artists. So yeah, as Toppe said, give us a shout on Twitter, on Instagram, on our email as well. Let us know, you know, if you're enjoying these artists, if you have any suggestions as well, then give us a shout. And we'll be back after a very short break.
See you in a bit. Right, and we are back. And as you can tell from our album title, or not album title, the episode title, we're going to be talking about our favorites, the best hip hop group in the last decade. Yeah, did he say that? Yeah, he did. He did say that. Brockhampton, they're back.
Quote us on it.
They're back. They are back. Yeah, they're back with a new record.
Back with a 2-pack as well, aren't they? The first of 2.
So this is the first of 2. They're on their back on their bullshit again. Like back in 2017, they did the saturation shit. But this time,
this is our last tour. We won't be coming back.
We'll see. But yeah, so we've got the first of 2. We've got the penultimate record from, the boy band Brockhampton. What the fuck is Roadrunner? New Light.
Roadrunner New Light. Yeah. The name's like, yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
What the fuck? Like, even the cover, right? It's just like, they're funny. Like, they're so funny. Like, it's just like some white, like, angel looking figure and like someone in the desert or whatever. It's like, that doesn't mean shit. Scene. But it's like, why not?
Nothing to the concept album.
Yeah, it's like, why not? And I like that they do that. Like, their cover means fuck all in terms of the actual music, like, every time. Maybe apart from Ginger, but that's it, really. But yes. So yeah, they're back in town. They're here with a new record. I don't really know what else to say apart from that in terms of Brockhampton. I mean, if you haven't really heard of Brockhampton, then you're probably let me not say that. I'm not trying to get.
I was going to say you're a bit too late.
No, I'm not even going to say that. You know what it is? Okay, one thing I will say is back when I started listening to Brockhampton, which was pretty much at the start when they dropped their saturation shit.
Yep.
I feel like a lot of people, hip hop fans, weren't fans of it. It was mainly like those like preppy like guys at like university who were into them more so than like the average hip hop fan.
Yeah, I can picture the kind of guys we're talking about.
Yeah. Like I remember one time I was on the coach. I think when I was doing like long distance running, right, and I was on I didn't know. This is my first day ever, right? Didn't know fuck all of the people on the coach, and then I was like, someone started playing like what's it called? Saturation 3. And I was like, I was like, actually, that makes so much more sense because half the fucking crew members are white and Kevin Abstract's a guy who grew up in Texas. Like, and it just, that kind of sound, that industrial type of sound, I feel like it takes that demographic a lot easier. So I was like, okay, fair enough, innit? But yeah, I mean, over time, I feel like they've definitely gone to a point where you just cannot deny them. You cannot deny them.
And there's definitely like a real... there's like a very noticeable evolution of sound. And even to the point where I would say this album combines a lot of where they went kind of one way with Ginger, which was a complete opposite way of like Iridescence. They've kind of like merged a lot of the sounds and taken the good and like the good from each as well. Which is why I think this is like such a brilliant album.
I mean, yeah, just for context, innit? So I'm gonna give the listeners a little inside peek, right? So the thing about, obviously me and John, we've known each other for quite some time now, innit? So I feel like he knows exactly how to get me excited for shit. So so obviously we're talking about like obviously the last couple of Brockhampton records, they're cool, but I'm not as hot on them as like Saturation. So obviously I heard this new one comes, and like, okay, I'm definitely gonna listen to it, but I'll listen to it.
I remember this.
And John's like, this new Brockhampton album is sick. I'm like, okay, cool. He's like, but the beats, the best beats they've ever had. I was like, okay, now you've got me. Like, you know exactly how to fucking get me sometimes. And I was like, okay, I have to listen to this shit now. If you're telling me this is the best beats they've ever had, like, they've had some pretty, decent beats. I'm like, okay, now I have to just put it at the top of my like agenda. You know what I mean? So yeah, nice one there, John. Like, got me with that one.
It got me. I think the first track is brilliant, obviously, but it really got me that this was like a moment, I think, on the second track.
Man!
So it wasn't long. It wasn't long into the album where I was like, "Yeah, okay, we're onto something here." And something I will say for Brockhampton as well is that they always, I feel like they're so good at quality control.
Do you think so?
I think so. Yeah, as in, I don't feel like they release massively bloated albums.
Okay, no, that is 100% true. And given their crew size of like fucking 10,000, it's like that's fair.
It's something that does kind of befall most groups. You see, even like duos that I don't know, Ray Shremmerd, or like I can't remember the name.
Yeah, like, Ray Shremmerd.
Like so many of them, the Migos. Like you can always look at an album like that.
And those are like 2-3 guys.
I can take out like 20, maybe 30%, and it'll be a decent album.
Yeah.
But like these guys, maybe there's 1 or 2 tracks from this that I'd be like, could have maybe dropped out. But yeah, quality control, I think.
No, that's actually completely fair. Now you said it, I was like, yeah, no, 100%. Like, I think one thing about Brockhampton, obviously, we'll get into the tracks as well, but obviously, if you know in it, I know a lot of people who probably listen to this Buddy FM podcast probably don't listen to Brockhampton as much, but like, obviously, after Saturation, they lost one of their members, H.E.R, right? Mm-hmm. For reasons that are out of the scope of this episode, so no need to get into that. But obviously, he was one of the key members of the group. Like, he was rapping on nearly every song. He was the cover for all 3 of their Saturations. Like, he was a big part of them. He was friends with quite a lot of them, like Matt Champion and stuff like that. So like, he was a big deal. And obviously they lost him, and it felt like when H.E.R left, they lost like a lot of their identity and like in terms of their sound and their direction. Like, and then you can definitely tell on like Iridescence and Ginger, like it feels like they're trying to work it out. I don't know, there's enough talent there for them to have like a good record, but it does feel like shit, like I don't really know what Brockhampton is anymore, do you know what I mean? Because we lost that edge, and like I don't know. Is that how you kind of received it?
I think so. I think Iridescence did feel, was Iridescence the last one with him?
No, Saturation 3.
Saturation was the last one. Yeah, because Iridescence, whenever I go back to their tracks, there's definitely like an element missing from that.
Yeah.
Ginger was good. Ginger was very good, don't get me wrong. But it was definitely like a shift in attitude, and it did feel like there was lacking that, like, don't know whether like grit's the word or but yeah, it was definitely lacking something. And then I feel like with this album,
I feel like
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, I feel like Ginger was like their biggest deviation away from hip hop, and it feels like this one, I kind of get the name because I feel like it is a new machine. Like, it feels like they've completely reformed themselves and become like a whole different beast. Like, do you know what I mean? So like, yeah, like I get what you mean. I feel like this one is like everyone's just kind of evolved, like in a really special way. Really special way, to be honest.
And obviously, like with a group like Brockhampton, obviously you mentioned the size of them.
So many of them.
Yeah, how do you? I definitely can't. How do you kind of see? In each album you obviously get, other than Matt Champion and like Kevin Abstract, like who did you kind of like see in this album that like, came to the foreground, or like were there characters like that maybe kind of exerted themselves a bit more on this?
Oh, okay, cool. So the way you worded that question, it gives me a completely different answer, because I thought you were going to be like, who was the best? But you said who exerted themselves more. So Jabari was not on their previous albums as much, so he's way more. I know he does some production. I know he does some voiceovers. Like, he did a couple on a song called Stains on Saturation 3 that I kind of like.
Yeah.
I think he came to the forefront a bit more. I think the rest of them, I feel like Blueface. Fuck no, not Blueface. Bareface. I feel like they don't. I feel like with Bear, because he was the one like true singer of the group. I feel like over time they've just worked out how to use him. So just like having to dedicate a song to him every single time. It's like, okay, we'll try and mix you in. But I feel like he's not as present on this one than other albums, and I don't think that's a bad thing at all. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in terms of that, I think the rest of them, I think in terms of the artists that actually like speak vocally on the record, I think the rest of them do get their fair shine, really.
Yeah.
I think all of them, had the standards.
I agree. Jabari had like production credits, I think, on almost every single track, with the exception of which track was it he didn't produce? When I Ball.
Okay.
Which was Chad Hugo from Nerd, NERD.
Oh, that's
who produced that track. Because it has it
makes
makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. Because it has that beginning, that like what's the word? The like typical like Pharrell Williams, like 1, 2, 3, 4 into it. Yeah. So that was Chad Hugo.
Great production on that one as well.
I thought Joba was brilliant on this album. I thought he was on what I think is the best track on the album. He had like one of my favorite verses on it, which was The Light. We'll obviously get to that a little bit more. But yeah, I thought otherwise, Kevin and Matt obviously did their thing.
Let's talk about Kevin for a little bit, right? Because I feel like this is a conversation I haven't really heard anyone speak about, especially not in my peripheral. What's so crazy about Kevin, right? Because Kevin, obviously, he's been rapping before Brockhampton. He had his like solo like project before
Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona,
and
baby.
Since then, yeah.
Yeah, and since then. So yeah, he's been around for like the last 4 or 5 years. He's been ridiculously consistent on every fucking Brockhampton project. This is their 7th project, because they had one before Saturation.
All American Trash.
But yeah, Trash. Yes, exactly. All American Trash. So why is he not considered one of the best rappers out right now? And obviously there's a clear, obvious reason why that is. But I just feel like it's just so weird that he's left out of conversation so often, because yes, you've got Freddie Gibbs, of course, right?
You've got to spell it out, Tope, for our audience.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we're going to get there. Yeah. Obviously, I'm saying like, I do genuinely just believe if he wasn't gay, he would be like probably people's number 2 or 3. Maybe even like the guy is really fucking good. Like he is really good. Like let's not like, and to be honest, even I forget sometimes, because obviously like he kind of just puts himself in the Brockhampton collective, and I fully respect that. But every single Brockhampton album, if he doesn't have the best verse, he has like top 3. And they've had so much material. That's not light. I don't know he doesn't really feature enough, but like, yeah, when I think of standout verses, like he's had some of my best verses in the past like few years. I can honestly say that. So yeah, what I don't know. What do you think? Why doesn't
I agree. I think it's because I don't know why it is. I probably subconsciously do it with the band as a whole. When I'm like talking about my favorite artists, for some reason I don't think of them in that like rapping ability. And I don't know why. Because they're all brilliant. Like they're all brilliant rappers. Particularly Kevin. Like he's versatile as well. I think, which is one thing to be said for like a good rapper. They have to kind of be versatile and kind of switch up their flow, and he does that in this album a lot as well. But yeah, you're right. He needs to be respected a little bit more.
Gosh, yeah, it's insane. But yeah, here we are saying it now. But yeah, I think he's fantastic. Like honestly, he's genuinely fantastic. And maybe after like Brockhampton split up, maybe he'll kind of like work with people more and people get his name out there. But like, yeah, it's just something I thought about like prior to the episode. I'm like, damn, this guy's actually really fucking good. But yeah, I mean, obviously when he's saying stuff like, giving his man head or, sucking his boyfriend's dick, I know that's not something that the average rap fan is going to sing out loud at a concert, are they? So I gotta get it on that perspective. But I do feel like, Frank Ocean gets so much love. And I know Frank Ocean is not nearly as fucking explicit as Kevin Abstract. Of course not. But I feel like you have to respect it, especially coming from like a black man from the South. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just not something you see every day. And obviously, I'm not saying being gay should be your shtick. I fully get that. But even outside of that, I feel like it's not like I don't feel like he uses it as a crutch.
Not at all, because he's just doing the same. He's doing less than the average male heterosexual rapper. Like he's. I mean, we say explicit, but like compared to like the average rapper, he's not. It's just that a lot of rap fans who are heterosexual don't really want to engage with that, which is mad because like I mean, I listen to most rappers, but like I'm not listening because I like personally kind of like relate to their sexual experiences or their like whatever. I'm just relating because it's good music.
I mean, same with like a lot of guys will listen to like female rappers who talk about like fucking guys, like obviously Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B. Like no one ever has a problem like singing those lyrics out. But once you know, it's like once you know a guy's talking about experiences for another guy, you know it's real and you know it happened. That's
like, why when I reviewed the album a couple of days ago, the 7th Feet Deacon album, that's why I didn't want to be like, because I've read some reviews since from like The Guardian or Pitchfork, and they all just like, oh, it's a what's the word? Like it's like a love letter to like black homosexual love or stuff like that. It's like he's not doing it for that. He's just like he's just singing about his life. Like he's not doing it to be like the poster boy for like black homosexuals. He's just like singing about himself, and it's a good album, which is why Yeah. Oh, man.
No, do you know what it's like? It's like being a fucking author and you have that one book that does well and everyone starts thinking that every fucking line you have in your book has some sort of meaning. So, but the thing is, they always do that after the fact. It's always retroactively. So because you're gay is why you wrote this. It's not like you wrote this because of anything else. And then it's like they feel like once they know this about you, it informs everything else in your art, when it's like, what if I just wanted to make a song because I thought it was cool? Yeah. It has nothing to do about gay people in society or black people in society or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I mentioned it on the pod before. It was either, so there's two examples. I think it was when who was the producer for Kendrick? What the fuck is his name? Oh my gosh, it's leaving my brain. Fuck. My God, this is really pissing me off. Anyways.
Can I help? Which song? What album?
He's worked on Damn. He did a lot of the reverse beats.
Oh, the guy that did, he reversed to Haters Coyote song.
Think so. Yes, what's his name?
I don't know. I knew who you were talking about.
That's fucking annoying because he's such a famous producer. But anyways,
it was Flying Lotus or someone.
No, it's not Flying Lotus. We'll get there. But anyways, he was in the interview, right? And he's talking about like working with Kendrick, and someone's like, "So yeah, you know, what's the whole thing with reversing the beats? Like, is it because the albums work backwards?" And he just says, right, "Oh, we just liked the sound of reverse beats, so we did it." Like, that's literally it. And because people hear Damn after, like, oh my gosh, the beats reverse means there's something to that. It's like, relax. It's just because he wanted to talk about it, or he just wanted to do it. Like, it's not always an intrinsic meaning. I know
Ninth Wonder.
It's not Ninth Wonder.
Terrence Martin.
It's not Terrence Martin.
The Alchemist. Bad, not good. DJ Dahi.
DJ Dahi, that's it. It was DJ Dahi. Yeah. Obviously, fucking amazing producer. Obviously, massive producer. He's worked for so many people. But yeah, he was getting asked in an interview, like, yeah, like, you know, why did you do them? It's just like, yeah, we just did it to do it. Like, I'm pretty sure every fucking J.K. Rowling book's been gutted to death because everyone thinks like, because that's been like, I get it, but sometimes it's like, you know, sometimes sometimes the easiest explanation is the real explanation. Like, not everyone tries to like 300. Not everyone's Lupe Fiasco trying to like 300 IQ their songs every time. Do you know what I mean? But yeah. But anyways, let's get into the album, right?
I'd say a good starting point, like without doing like a track by track, a good starting point would probably be looking at like features, because that's the obvious kind of deviation from previous albums, right? Is that they always kind of, and that's maybe why we kind of think about them in a different light, because they don't really interact as much with like the all-star cast. Obviously on this album they've got some of them.
I mean, all-star in terms of their genre, right? Because that's one thing as well, because thing about Brockhampton in general, and I know they've toned it down so much more, and I appreciate that, because also they came out so abrasive, super industrial, especially songs like Heat and shit like that. Like, it's just like balls to the wall, and not a lot of like artists will like fuck with that. But obviously since then, there's a lot of artists that kind of pop up who are in that sound. Obviously Danny Brown is not one of them, but he's featured here. But JPEG Mafia is another one.
Definitely.
Yeah, JPEG Mafia is very like industrial, abrasive. Like, you know, he's not your everyday hip hop artist. And obviously, I feel like him being on this album is a perfect addition. Like, this should have happened years ago. Legit. Like, this was the amazing feature for this. So yeah, let's start with this one. Like, I think it's the best feature on the record by far. Like, this guy, like, he's been great. Like, he's been great, but man, like, oh God, it's just he's just got something about him, right, where he can kind of go from this like very like libtard accent to like rough and hard hitting, like, do you know what I mean? And I got a couple of quotes on there. It was like, did you win if your purpose is perfect, just perfect potential? Did you live up to it, or are you just doing the minimum? You used to get 50 views, now they need Peggy's momentum. Let's check the addendum. Oh my God, like the whole verse. Or when he's saying like Duolingo, the Dua Lipa line as well. Like, oh my God, like,
yeah.
Oh, this guy, yeah, he's special, man. But
this like collaboration makes so much sense. I felt the same with Danny Brown, but probably more so with JPEG Mafia because of his own sound, right? Like his own like personal music.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I thought some great verses there. I mean, Kevin Abstract's obviously like, he does he do the chorus?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if best feature on that album.
Yeah, no, on it for me, like 100%. Like, it's just the way he came in, and that beat was just everything was just perfect for me on that one. It was like, obviously Kevin Abstract is a fantastic rapper, and obviously he does his thing here. And even who else was on this as well? Merlin. One thing I like about Merlin as well, he's calmed the fuck down so much. Like, he doesn't need to be like an ODB like reincarnate to kind of like work in Brockhampton anymore. He has like full on verses now instead of like 4 bars. Like, so I think he was really good in this song as well. But yeah, I mean, what if that's not your favorite feature, then who is? Let's talk about it.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie. One of my favorite features was probably A$AP Ferg's first verse.
That was really good as well.
I thought that was that was really good.
Yeah.
Which song was it on? It was on Bankroll, right?
Yeah, right after.
I thought he killed the verse on that.
Yeah.
Like, he was just going like rapid fire.
And he's so funny as well. And he said something like, don't know why you cuffing, my bitch should be tonguing. He's just, and also, what's it called? Rocky doing the verse.
It's weird because they said they had this song like a couple years prior to releasing it, like maybe 2-3 years prior. So I'm trying to work out, like, Testing came out in 2018, but it almost felt like he was in his like at long last kind of like vibe. It's like that kind of like slow, like echoey vibe. Because there was a lot of like LSD trippy songs on at long last, and it felt a little like that.
Even the way the chorus was kind of like off kilter as well. No, I really like this. Like this. I can't hate on that choice, to be honest. Yeah, Ferg is so funny. Like, banger, absolute banger on this one.
I mean, the other features, the one that really surprised me, right, was the guy that I was listening to him, and
I know you're gonna say, Gone So Flexy
sounded like Freddie Gibbs. What the hell? I had to look it up, and I was like, is this like a kind of like joke? Who is this guy? It sounded like Freddie Gibbs. Yeah.
I didn't get Freddie Gibbs from it, but I like his voice a lot. I think he's got a really good rapping voice. And I know he did like the most of the intro to Windows. Obviously Windows like a fucking 6-minute song. But yeah, what do you think of So Gone So Flexy? He's on a couple of the songs, actually.
Yeah, he was on an earlier one, which was it?
Yeah.
I can't remember which one it was now. But no, I liked Windows a lot. He was on. Was he? I think he might be on Bankroll
or Count on Me. One of the two. I think he was on Bankroll. I think he might have been Bankroll. I think he was on Bankroll.
But yeah, no, I think Count on Me. I think he might have been on that one as well, because there was Shawn Mendes, wasn't it? I think Shawn Mendes was on that as well.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you're a bit of an aficionado of them. That like Kevin Abstract mentioned it on Star. Yeah. And was like,
I'm fucking no white boys.
Unless it's Shawn Mendes. Yeah. The song wasn't my favorite, I will say that, because it was quite like a summery like vibe.
That's one thing that will always plague Brockhampton, and I get it. It's a gift and a curse with them because they're so genre bending, and I do think they should continue doing that because they are good at. I think the genres that they're really good at, obviously hip hop and R&B, but sometimes they go into this pop side, and sometimes it works. Like what's Sugar? Like obviously that's their biggest single ever, right? I mean, Sugar fucking amazing, but even then that's kind of hip hoppy as well. But then. Yeah, so sometimes it works, and obviously songs like I'll Take You On with Charlie Wilson, he should have done it a lot more actually. But then songs like this, I'm like, I don't know if you guys are taking a piss, or it's like you guys just feel like why not in it, because they do feel like a why not type of crew. Like it's not a bad song, it's not badly produced. Obviously, I think A$AP was alright on this. A$AP Rock is on this. He's not a credited feature actually, but he's But one thing I will say, the hook is catchy as fuck though.
Yeah.
I know that you.
And it's definitely like a kind of. There's a lot of what's the word? Like melancholy throughout the album, because obviously the theme, which we can go into a little bit more, it makes sense that even when you've got the like lighter, kind of like more poppy songs, that there's still this like element of of like melancholy and sadness that's like running through it. Because in these songs as well, I mean, the lyrics aren't as like deeply personal. They're kind of more like generic, like unrequited love type songs that there is on what is it, Old News and songs like that. Yeah. Other features. Let's talk about the first one. We mentioned Danny Brown was on it. So Buzz Cut. This is where I thought, again, like Kevin Abstract just like shows himself to be really versatile, because he came into the first song and I was like, ooh, who is this?
And he does this.
He sounds similar to Danny Brown as well a little bit on it. Like his delivery is 100%. Like boom, staccato.
Who let the dope boys out? Oh my god, he's again, like you said, he's so fucking versatile. He's so fucking like, he demands your attention. Like when Kevin Abstract does a hook, you hear it. Like there's no way that's not sticking in your brain. Like every fucking time. He did it on Saturation 1, Saturation 2, Saturation 3, Iridescence, and he did it with Ginger. Every single one. Like he has to start it off because you're gonna hear it. And yeah, like his verse was fucking sick. Like just
talking about like his fractious relationship with his mom, right?
Yeah,
and how she kind of didn't accept him. What were you going to say? Go for it.
No. Keep going.
Yeah, no. I think that's the first song is where you get that that idea of the light being like. So a lot of the verses that the guys from Brockhampton are rapping in the whole album is about, you know, kind of adversity, whether it's like childhood trauma, whatever it is, and then they're trying to like see some kind of like silver lining, some kind of like, he said, they thought I'd never see the sunlight. So yeah.
I mean, and I think from Buzzcut, you realize this is not going to be the same old Brockhampton, because they've been very formulaic in terms of their past projects. So obviously the first song is always like some hard hitting banger, like every fucking time. But this one was kind of like, it kind of started a bit, you know, chiller. Like it was way more controlled, way more direct. It wasn't like these like loud sirens in the background or anything like that. It was like kind of more to the point and a lot more chilled, and the production was way more like fleshed out and things like that. And obviously having a feature, like again, they don't really do features, so it's like, okay, completely different. And another thing about Brockhampton, like one thing I always love when artists do this is when they grow their audience, because obviously when Brockhampton dropped, a lot of them were like teenagers or they just gone to their 20s, and obviously they made great songs, innit? But they were definitely like young. They were like young rebels, and it felt like they were like it felt like when they were rapping, it felt like they were just rebelling against society. That's kind of what I got in it.
Yeah.
But now it feels like they've kind of like, again, they've calmed down. It kind of feels like they're able to kind of channel whatever that's gone on in their lives, instead of just like spewing out in just terms of like angry lines. They actually be able to talk about it in a very controlled way. Like I've never, like, again, maybe Kevin has been the most like personal, but for the rest of them, it's like they're becoming way more personal in this one. Like I'm surprised I didn't mention this before. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think from this song, you can tell that okay, like things are gonna be different.
I totally agree. Like talking about the personal element, as you said, like Kevin's done this before. I feel like obviously Joba, people who know them well will know that he kind of has suffered from like, is it dissociative personality disorder, and also with bipolar. And obviously that's like been mentioned. It seems like it's quite common knowledge, but he takes it to a whole new level on The Light, which I think is the best song on the album. I think he has one of the best verses on the album as well. Like, should we go straight to it? Yeah, I think he just like kills that first verse. But he's like contemplating death, you know, the suicide of his father when he was young, and the impact that had on his mental health. Like the lyrics are just visceral. There's a quote where he's just like, felt numb since September when I heard the news, what I'd do to speak one last time, haunted by the image of a bloody backdrop, skull fragments in the ceiling. Yeah,
I mean, this song, right? I mean, you're speechless, right? And that's exactly how I felt. Because I heard it in the gym, I was like, fucking hell, that's a lot. But I mean, when you hear it again, I'm like, fuck. Like, there's no, literally, I don't care who the fuck you are. I don't care who the fuck you are. You can be the best rapper in the world. There is not many people who would be who would have the heart, and there's no shade in this as well, sorry, who would have the heart to speak about their dad's suicide the way he did on this song and make it sound interesting? Honestly, that's not the point, right? But it's like, fuck, like Jova, like what the hell? Like this song, right? It just proved to me in it, like I was like, there's Joba and Kevin Abstract, and there's everyone else. And I've always felt this way, because the thing is about Joba, he can actually sing as well. So like, not only can he sing, and obviously he's had great verses before on like Saturation 2, like Sweet and stuff like that. He's had really good verses before, but this one is like, and he's after Kevin Abstract, he's probably been the most personal, but this one I was like, wow, like
he's talking about like his mother says like what was it? Felt your presence in the room, heard my mother squealing, and it just like yeah,
like it's just the way he says it. I'm like, it's just, are you okay? Like I had to, if I heard that song and I knew, I had to message him like, are you all right? And I'm not saying like mentally, just like how are you feeling, because it's so vivid, it's so explicit. It's like fuck. And obviously, again, like I think we spoke about it way back then, probably episode 2 or some shit. Obviously, like, you know, pain can obviously create great art, and obviously it's grateful when we get it. But this song's on a different. Like I haven't heard lyrics this sad or this like horrific in several years. I'll say that.
Which is why years. I mean, a lot of the mental health stuff makes sense if this is the kind of stuff that he's carrying around with him. And also like. We've done the kind of like visceral quotes and stuff where he's just, you know, setting out facts. But then I think what's kind of underestimated is like the kind of like imaginative and like metaphors and stuff that he manages to use as well. Like, what's it? He's like louder than a twisted tongue lion, as sick as our secrets, shadow people with needles, bathing through a peephole, bedtime stories from purgatory. I miss you. And it's like, let me just sit down for a minute and unpack. Like,
oh man, yeah,
they're just such like unique ways of kind of describing the trauma and the clearly like the mental images that he's still got going around his head. I was in shock, I think, when I first heard the song.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, like Kevin Abstract does not let up either. It feels like his verse came, he feels like, okay, I have to match this, like, because, and obviously, like, Kevin Abstract definitely gets personal as well. And the thing about Kevin Abstract, one thing I really love about him as well is that he's funny and serious in the same line, like all the time. Like he'll talk about something very serious, like, you know, the struggles of like real struggles of being gay, but then he'll just kind of play off of the joke, like whatever, innit? Like, yeah, people want to like fucking cut my head off in Texas for being gay, but fuck it, like I don't give a shit. Like, do you know what I mean? He's always been that type of guy. And like, even though he's talking about wanting to like jump off a bridge last summer, he's like, I was standing on the bridge, I see all y'all under me. It's like right in the same line, like it's stuff like that makes him so fucking good. Like, you know, then he says, you know, I love the attention, I'm a bastard in public, I still struggle telling my mum who I'm in love with, you know, subtleties in between where these diamonds gleam. When Thanksgiving come around, I still don't see him. When Christmas come around, I still don't see him. Like, it's just the way he says stuff is like, oh man, like, you know, still struggling to tell his mum who he's in love with. Like, he's just, it's just that little like juvenile part to him, but he's like, you can tell, no, he's fully aware. Like, he's not just like some stupid kid. For sure. But yeah, the light is number one.
It's great. And I think like the kind of instrumentation works with it as well. They use guitar a lot on some of these like heavier tracks. And like, the guitar on this is brilliant. And obviously there's mentions from Job at the end of his verse, like given what he's just like shared with the listener. And then he says, you know, about seeing the light between the clouds. It's mad. I remember I think it was either All Music or a particular music review that called this like a group therapy session. And it's like, cool, fair. I'll take that. Yeah. Yeah, no,
I think that's fair. And I think it's like, there's a couple songs like that as well. Like, obviously, they have the second part of the light, they have the light part 2 right at the end, where it's completely opposite in terms of approach, right? Where it's more, okay, it is about like seeing the light, but it's more like, you know, don't kill yourself or don't feel like shit is over. Do you know what I mean? Just because you're going through shit. And it kind of feels like those two songs are kind of like tying the whole like theme of the record together. So it's like, I feel like the light part one is like talking about, okay, yeah, this is the reason why I'm fucked up. But light part two is like, despite all that, you know, it's still okay, and you know, the light's coming, kind of thing. I know that's kind of how I saw it, really.
And even then, it makes sense to talk about that song as well, the outro, like the fact that it starts off with like Joba like pleading with his dad not to commit suicide, when he's like, why did you do it? The light is worth the wait. Screaming, please don't do it.
Yeah, and he's whispering it as well, and talking about like, you know, not being able to see your grandchildren and stuff like that, and like basically like a disconnection to his lineage and shit like that. Like Joba is, like he's like, I would love to see like a debut project from him if it hasn't existed already. Like I know you're kind of unsure on it, but I do feel like because he can sing and rap, like, I feel like I'll be interested enough.
I'm not unsure for the reason you think. I'm unsure because I don't know how it would translate. Because we've seen Kevin Abstract go off and make a solo project, but I don't know how Joe would work without all of the Brockhampton production direction behind him.
You can still have that, but I get what you mean.
Because I feel like there's so much potential from seeing him on songs like this. There's a crazy potential to see what he could do. I think it just needs like, a lot of production and stuff around him, especially because of all the kind of personal issues he's still dealing with. It can really just go one or two ways when you kind of start out on your own.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. But then it could be like an Odd Future thing where they break out into sex.
Yeah.
Because obviously like you had like Odd Future and then you had like the internet, and then you had like mellow hype and shit like that. So who knows, innit? But yeah, I kind of get what you mean. Like if they get like Jabari producing like the record, does some shit, maybe.
Yeah. A little break off with Kevin, Jabari and Joba.
Yeah, oh man. That would be unfair, mate. That would be very unfair.
But since we mentioned the final track, there's a reference which kind of allows you to understand Brockhampton a bit better, which is a reference to their like record deal, which required that they release a certain number of albums, and that kind of leading to them feeling a bit what's the word? Like kind of disassociated with like group rap life. I think just because they've been forced to release all of these albums, which is probably why they're releasing 2 this year. Again, record labels, we keep saying it every week, don't we? We're going to do an episode at some point and talk about those deals.
Danny record label
so I think they got $15 million for 6 albums.
Fuck,
that's a lot of hands as well, remember. There's more than 10 of them.
Yeah, no, fair. I mean, even if it's 20 of them, 750 grand depends how many. What's it? 6 albums, 6. Right? That is, that's a bit low, innit? You know what I mean? But the thing about, I don't know when they got signed. Did they get signed before Saturation? I think they did, didn't they?
I can't remember. Was it after? It must have been after All American Trash.
Yeah, so it was like Saturation 1, 2, and 3. That's 3 albums. And then they've had Iridescence, Ginger, and this one. So that's 6 albums right now. So it's surprised. So it might have been maybe in between, because obviously it's a 6 album deal, innit? So it might have been after Saturation 1. Yeah. Because obviously if this is gonna be the last one, then okay, yeah, fair enough. I get what you mean. But yeah, I mean sometimes like you, especially when like you're an indie group and like you've barely got money to make this happen, you're gonna take it.
Yeah, you are.
You're gonna take it. Do you know what I mean? Like I fully get it, so I can't hate on that too much. Yeah. But let's talk about. Okay. What do you think of Charlie Wilson on them? I'll Take You On. I thought it was a nice little R&B cut.
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah, I mean, it definitely wasn't my favorite song, but
I feel like he should have been on it a bit longer. To be honest, because he's right at the end, and there's shit like that on this album that doesn't really make sense to me. Like right at the end of Chain On, you have the Wu-Tang sample. I'm like,
yes,
how much did you pay for that? Yeah,
because like apparently they had a lot of other music that had a lot of 90s samples on it, and they just didn't either have the money to clear it for a studio album or something. That's what I heard. So that's the one they left on. Anyway, the song confused me. I'll Take You On, because it started, I was like, are we going to get a little, it felt like a little garage intro, It's like half expecting to hear Craig David appear at some point. But yeah, it was definitely like one of the more electro-poppy songs, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, but I think it's just like a thing they need to get out their system. Like they just have to have one of those songs where like they're just singing and just having a good time. But and I think that's the one part maybe with the record that maybe takes the wind out of itself, because after Windows you start getting a lot of these singing songs.
Yeah,
so like you get you get like Old News, What's the Occasion? Old News, What's the Occasion? I'll Take You On, those three. Where it's just like, it's slowing down. But I don't think... So one thing I will say, I think the reason why they progressed is that, again, these songs feel fleshed out. And they're not doing shit like 1 minute songs anymore, or having like some random Spanish guy talking in skits, which, like after a while, that was going to get fucking boring, man. But so, I mean, they always talk about like love. That's one thing. One thing about Brockhampton, right? They do have good love songs. Like Face from Brockhampton 1, that is a beautiful song. So they are good at it, but it's like, you don't know what you're going to get from them. Like, where the fuck are they going to go with this? So I guess in terms of the R&B songs, so let's just go through it quickly. So you have all the singing songs, rather. Count on Me, Old News, What's the Occasion, When I Bore, and Dear Lord. I guess out of that sector, which one's your favourite?
I kind of like the Old News one. It's like a nice kind of like unrequited love story, or requited love story. And they obviously have that same like trope in there, like, tell them to keep your faith to the sky. Like, again, just trying to lift them out of that melancholy, whatever they're feeling. It was a nice R&B song. Was it Merlin was on Old News?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Was it Merlin? Yeah. He had a nice voice. Nice verse, sorry. Yeah, the other ones, I'd say out of them, it was probably that I enjoyed the most, Old News.
I like Dear Lord, actually. I know it's a very choir-based song, but...
Very, like, gospel-y vocal.
Was that Joba singing that? I feel like it was, wasn't it? Or was it Bareface? One of the two. Let me double-check that. But yeah, Dear Lord, I thought I wasn't going to like it because of the auto-tune, but I fucking like it. Yeah, it's Bareface. I think, is it just him? I don't think it's just him. Oh, it is. It is just him. So y'all still doing that shit where it's just that. I do like that. Like, especially, and it ties in well with the theme. Like, I don't know how religious Brockhampton are, but yeah, like it is a really nice like gospel influence track. And I think that's what's so interesting about them as well. It's like even if they attempt a genre, even if it's not perfect, they give a fucking good whack at it. Like it's never like, that was such a horrible attempt. Like they always seem to
they do go for it.
Yeah, they always seem to like get a decent attempt at any single kind of genre they kind of touch, and I think that's what makes them so special, really.
Yeah. No, it was a good song. Like the nice, like you said, the auto tune, but it was nice the way they kind of like layered it all as well, quite gospel-y. We've got to get onto Don't Shoot Up the Party.
I was going to mention that. I mean, before we get into that, so what do you think about the track list in here? Because it feels like you have all these singing songs. Obviously, I'll Take You On, Old News, What's the Occasion? And obviously, When I Ball is rapping, cool, it's chill, but then you just get Don't Shoot Up the Party, which is like way more, like, it's completely different to the rest of them. And it feels like it should be more on the front end of the album. But yeah, I want to know what you think about that.
Yeah, I find that interesting because I think if you put that at the front end of the album, then it's like a serious mood shift, which obviously works for some albums, but I don't necessarily enjoy those albums where it's like 7 big hard-hitting songs and then 5 slow tracks at the end, because then I'm like, maybe you should have made it like a double disc, or maybe you should have just held them off. I don't know.
Don't worry, guys. I'm a big fan of slow ties in your records, by the way. Don't worry. But continue.
Yeah, I don't know. But that was 2 discs.
It was. Yes, it was. Fair enough.
Clap back. So I think in that sense, I'm not sure. I think it's kind of necessary to keep it there.
Yeah. Okay, fair. To kind of like keep.
But yeah, it's very front heavy. Going. It's very front heavy.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
It is a song.
It It's a good, again, Kevin Abstract, again.
That like arresting voice, it's like, boom, it just like gets you in a seat. Yeah.
So what, I know we haven't really mentioned him, he's kind of gone under the radar, but fuck it, let's talk about him. So Matt Champion, what did you kind of think of him throughout this album? I know he's on this song as well, but like, what did you think of his verses this time around? So for me personally, I feel like before, like when it came to the Saturation series, I thought he was like one of the best ones. I feel like he was definitely in my top 3 in terms of Brockhampton, but it feels like the rest of them have kind of caught up to him. I don't know. That's kind of how I feel about him these days. But I want to know what you think.
I think so. I think just definitely because I was so focused on like Kevin and Joba on this album, I kind of let him like fly under the radar. And I don't necessarily know whether it's like his quality has dropped. I think it's just that Joba kind of had an album or two where he wasn't at the forefront.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah. But Matt's funny. Like he has a funny verse on Don't Shoot Up the Party where he's like, what was it? Kiss my ass, treat my balls like mistletoe. Like,
yeah, he can still spit. But for sure.
But yeah, maybe it's others that have pushed him a little bit out of the limelight as opposed to his quality dropping. I don't know.
Fair, because like, you know, on like back in the day, you have like a verse like you know, on Junkie, like he had like a crazy verse on, no, is it Junkie? Yeah, like he's had some crazy verses back in Saturation. Was like, oh my gosh, like Matt Champion, he was the one. Like when he had that like so Junkie had that basically like that
Saturation 2, isn't it?
Yeah, Saturation 2, where he's talking about that, has like that anti-incel verse essentially. I was like, holy shit, like I've never seen someone do this before. Do you know what I mean? Basically he's gonna beat up a guy who kind of like disrespects women. It's like he did it in a way that wasn't corny at all. I was like, wow, like this guy is like, you know, bringing something different. But I kind of get that. Like I do feel it's more of a thing of other people caught up, and I feel like another person, because no, we're talking about Don't Show Up the Party. I feel like another person who was kind of slowly faded to the background as well is Dom, because Dom, I thought had a lot of raw talent coming in as well, but it seems like in a lot of these songs he's not. Like before, I feel like he was on a lot of the songs in Brockhampton, but it feels like he's definitely not needed as much for the songs to be good.
Which songs is he on for this, out of interest? I can't even name ones that he's on.
See, there you go. No, he's on Chain On. I know Chain On is obviously dominated by Peggy, but yeah, he's on Chain On. He had a good verse.
He's on When I Ball. Apparently, he was writing on that.
Yeah, obviously he does some production on here, but yeah, I mean, he had some good verses. Like, don't worry, on Chain On, he had a good verse, innit? I think he said something like, "See, words from Marvin couldn't soothe me from what's going on." I like that line. He's like, "When I've been fighting for the truth, I bring some extra hands." Like, do you know what I mean? Like, he's definitely good, but then I feel like I don't know whether I feel like either the other members of Brockhampton have just gotten better. Like, obviously, Kevin Abstract's always been good, and obviously, Jova's kind of like reached his level. Or is this all of them are just good now? And if that, I don't know which one it is.
And if it's the latter, then it's the right time that they're releasing their final 2 albums. And 100%. Kind of go off. But yeah, one more quote. Let's give Dom some flowers here. So he had the first verse on When I Ball, and he said, what was it? Watched uncles going on vacation for a couple years. When they came back, they needed clothes and had no souvenirs.
I mean, let's talk about When I Ball. I really like that song. Like, again, they've reduced the auto-tune so much on this album, but I really, really like on this one. And I think having the Neptunes lad, his name's eluding me.
Chad Hugo.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. No, I really, really like this song. It feels like Sunday morning. Do you know what I mean?
I think he's from Nerd. I don't think he's Neptunes.
Oh, is he from Nerd?
Yeah, I don't think he's Neptunes.
Oh no, you are right. Yeah. You are right. No, he's Neptunes. I was right. He's from Neptunes. Yeah, I was right.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, come on. My archive's still strong, man. Come on. But yeah, no, like, yeah, no, the production is so smooth, and obviously they're all kind of talking about like people kind of like, you know, motivate them to keep going, and you know, told them they could do anything and like shit like that. Like, yeah, I really like this song sentiment. I feel like it's like they always seem quite reflective in their in their lyricism. But yeah, I feel like this one they kind of got quite right, to be honest. So yeah.
Yeah. What should we talk about next? we keep dancing around. Don't shoot up the party. Let's talk about it. Come on.
Yeah, keep on.
So,
Yeah.
So I feel like they kind of like lay America's issues on the table, don't they? They're like,
oh yeah, of course.
Take everything that's wrong with America. Well, a few of the things. There are a lot. And yeah, they kind of talk about like gun violence. Obviously, homophobia has been something that obviously Kevin is bringing up in a lot of other songs. Racism as well. And it's like it's a cool beat. I think that's what I love. It's like got those kind of like G-funk-esque synths, right? And obviously the guy that produced this, or like the sound engineer for this song, also did some production on To Pimp a Butterfly as well. So I don't know if people listen to this and kind of hear any similarities. He's done a lot of production.
Wait, who?
I can't remember the name of the guy, but he did the kind of like production and sound engineering.
Is it Bed?
Song.
Bed?
I honestly can't remember his name.
Oh, okay, cool, fair enough.
But yeah, once I heard that, I could hear maybe some similarities.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like this song. It was just a bit. It just threw me off because I just wasn't expecting it.
I think it's a good example as well for like the album as a whole of like incorporating the like iridescence energy, or like the earlier saturation energy, with bits of like, you know, the like melodic ginger thrown in.
I mean, there's a bridge where Kevin and Job are going at it, and that's one thing I love about Kevin. Like, even though he's hanging around white people 24/7, he just doesn't give a fuck. Where he's like, "Stay down, I'm sorry. Stay down, you're ugly. The people need more the money. These white people don't love me." And obviously, you have Job in the back going, like just all that. So it's like, yeah, he fully agrees, isn't it? Like, even Job is like, yeah, fuck the police, that kind of thing. Like, or even like, obviously Kevin Ashite knows, like, he's, you know, he dates a lot of white men, but he's like, I don't need you to love me. Fuck you, come fuck me. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, they're just so very much aware of, you know, the kind of situation they're in. Like, even though like, and I think that's what's really important for them to do in particular, because obviously a lot of their fans are white. So I feel like it's good for them to kind of get that out of the way and be like, look, yeah, like you know, you may see a bunch of white people at our concerts, but don't think we are like ignorant to what's kind of going on. Do you know what I mean? Sure. There's another part.
Joba kind of talks about gun crime in the third verse, right?
Yeah.
He's like, why you gotta grab that pistol? Think about who's gonna miss you.
Exactly. Like, yeah, no, it's a good song. I wish it was kind of tied to. Again, I get what you mean, but I think I would have liked the placement maybe next to something else. I'm trying to think what song, maybe Buzzcut or something. But I get why it's there, because obviously it kind of keeps the interest throughout the album, because it does slow down after this. But yeah, I mean, let me do one more. When he's like, what's the Kevin Abstract? When it's like, niggas think I think these thoughts on purpose, but I knew about NSYNC before cash could rule me. That is a great line, but yeah. But then what's called all American self-hatred runs deep. Yeah. White boys, all I see whenever I sleep. So it's like, that's what he's like. He's kind of checking himself. He's like, yeah, all I'm attracted to is white guys. But it's like, do I hate, like, am I hating myself for just liking white men? Or is it just like, you know, America teaching me to hate black guys?
There's so much like self,
and to start off the song like that,
there's so much self-awareness here. There's always like, was like homophobic. I tried to gangbang. I tried to get laid. I had to get paid. He's like, I tried to like, I tried to like ignore who I am, and like tried to do all these things that you know, you're kind of seeing in kind of hip hop culture or in whatnot.
Because he went to a predominantly Latino school. So yeah, I think he even speaks about it near the start of the album, where it's like,
there's some references earlier on, like what's it in one of the previous albums, like all my shooters speak Spanish.
Yeah, when he's like, he talks about they tried to like jump him into a gang, like, you know, when you kind of like have to fight like a bunch of gang members, kind of get initiated. He talks about that quite a bit as well, just kind of avoiding it. I think on I think it was Iridescence. I don't know. I think it was Iridescence where he kind of talks about when he tried to sleep with a girl for the first time and, you know, shit just was not working. Do you know what I mean? Like, but I think the way he says it now is like, it doesn't have to be like a whole song. Like, I feel like he kind of knows like, okay, people get it, I'm gay, but let's kind of talk about what being gay actually, what the conflicts of being gay and just dating white men brings. And then again, I thought that's what makes Kevin Abstract another level to everyone else in Brockhampton. Like, I'll say it right now, I cannot wait for his next solo project because I feel like he's going to get a lot of good people working with him as well. I do think that.
Yeah, gotta love it. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like have we worked our way through the album now?
Yeah, I think we've covered most bases really. Yeah. I don't know if there's any song we kind of left out, to be honest. But yeah, no, it's a good album. Probably my favorite so far this year. This or Slow Ties, really. So not bad. Obviously, yeah, not by any means perfect. Yeah, not been a huge amount of music. Yeah, so going back to Saturation earlier today, and I can't say it has the highs of like, you know, it doesn't have like a Heat or a Swamp or a Junkie or a Fate. It doesn't have that, but I feel like it's kind of like, you know, instead of just being like up and down, up and down, up and down, they've kind of like met this healthy middle ground. And I'm happy with that actually, where it's just like, they can just give you consistent. I feel like this is the first Brockhampton album in a while actually, where like front to back, I'm not bored, or it's not a song I'm like, turn that off. Like I just need to skip that. It's like, it feels like they've kind of consistently hit the mark throughout every song. So, yeah, so I'm excited. What do you think the next album is going to bring? It's going to be a lot of closing remarks.
Yeah, maybe. I think there's going to be more features. I definitely do see that. I think it's more features. Maybe just each member trying to be like, I want this verse on this song, and I want to go for it. I reckon it'll be really, really good.
Yeah. It's pretty much their proof of concept, isn't it? Like, sign me. Look, you see what I did in that last Brockhampton record? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I feel like they're going to blow the budget on this
CV
one.
for 10 people.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, I think they're going to blow the budget. Like, I think it should be pretty good, to be honest. So, yeah. I mean, also on top of that, they have the Deluxe or whatever the fuck. It's coming. You know how I feel about Deluxes, so I'll leave you to kind of comment on that.
Yeah, great. I mean, it's definitely my favourite album, I think, of the year so far. Even though we've said those like 7 or 8 out of 13 tracks are like those big high energy songs, the others are, it's not like they're throwaways. They would do like really well on Ginger. And yeah, so yeah, definitely my favourite album so far this year.
I like how you try to skim past it, but I'm gonna get you. So the Deluxe, so the extra songs. So they're gonna have 5 extra songs.
5
coming.
Oof.
Yeah.
I reckon there'll be features. I reckon at least 3 of them will have features, right?
So I have the names of them here. So Roberto's Interlude. So we're gonna get some Spanish again. Fuck, I thought we escaped it. A song called Jeremiah. Then Sex. So it's 4 songs, sorry. And then the last one's called Pressure / Bow Wow.
Bow Wow. I reckon that, I don't know why, but I have a feeling that would be a high energy one.
Same. But we'll have to see.
We'll see.
Unfortunately, again, if you intended to drop extra songs, just drop the whole fucking record. But whatever. But I think this actually might be a physical copy actually. So actually, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this already exists. But we'll have to see. Whatever.
I mean, I'm looking forward to some new music from them.
Yeah, no, it's been a while.
Yeah,
to be honest. Yeah.
Nice.
No, I'm looking forward to it as well. I think this is definitely their best album since Saturation. So yeah, I'm excited. I think I'm back to being like a Brockhampton stan again. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It feels good. It's been 4 years. so yeah, it's been a long time. I've been waiting. So
but yeah, if you if you haven't heard the album yet, or you've listened to it lots and have some strong opinions or whatever, we're always happy to hear. You can kind of message us on Twitter, TVC Pod, on Instagram at the Vinyl Collective Pod, and obviously our email again is always open. I say always open. We have a spam folder. Yeah, so just give us a shout out. But yeah, as we do every single week, we have our Now and Then playlist. I am going to let Tope start, actually, because I feel like we both want to put a song on there. And I'm going to let him...
Actually, see, it's too easy to do that. So I'm actually
just do it, because it's got to go on there. And I know what song I want. You can have it, because I want to put a Brockhampton on there.
Actually, no, there's actually another song I actually want to put on there, because I know you're going to do it, so fuck it. So I'm going to put Kuko featuring your boy Nav. He came good. I can't even lie. Nav was a good feature on this. So AJ Tracy, Kuko featuring Nav. That song is fucking sick. Yeah, so that's my now song. In terms of my then song, so so I'm gonna go. Probably might be one of my oldest ones, but I'm gonna go. The Message.
Oh,
Grandmaster Flash and Furious 5. I hope that's not on the playlist already. It feels like something that would be on the playlist. Okay, cool. So those are my two.
Okay.
Good song.
There's no way that we can't put Introvert on there. So
yeah.
Introvert Little Sims is on there. And my then song. This is tough. I'm gonna go with Madlib Mystic Bounce.
Okay. Is this from the Shades of Blue?
From Shades of Blue. I think this song was actually used as well in Forbidden Fruit on J. Cole's Born Sin album, him and Kendrick Lamar.
But not Electric Relaxation.
And that.
Yeah, I think it's called something Brew, innit?
Yeah, you're right. Is it Mystic Brew?
Yes,
just call it Mystic Bounce. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a massive sample.
A lovely sample.
Yeah, it's a good sample. Very good sample.
And I mean, I guess if people want to check out the Madlib tweets I did, it's a really interesting concept for an album. I won't go into it too much, but basically he had kind of access to all of the archives, all the kind of jazz archives of the record label, and just basically like based each song off a particular jazz recording, and just kind of like worked in elements of hip hop and whatnot into it. Legend.
Cool. Long fight. This will be our longest episode to date. I think just about maybe a couple minutes longer than last week's episode. Obviously, shout out to us. Obviously, always get hitting the mark. You know, with the 11.5 at E-Review. Check that out. Paula, great guest. Probably one of our funniest episodes for sure. But yeah, as always, subscribe. If you've made it this far, then you have to fucking subscribe now. I mean, you activate our trap card. So yeah, subscribe to the Violent Collective. Follow us on TBC Pod.
Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts as well.
Yeah, tell a friend. Like, you know, we've got a listener in Mozambique. Shout out to Gets. We do have a listener from Mozambique. So I think that's just we're adding the countries up there. So keep the conversation going in it. Yeah, leave a review. I know a lot of you guys are following on Spotify. Keep following, tell your friends to follow, whatever. You know, just say, hey, you like music? Hey, listen to the Violent Collective. They speak some good shit there. So yeah, I think that will be it from us. Any closing words, John?
I think you summed it up pretty well there.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll see you again next week.